Hello, everybody, and welcome to our 4 p.m. Eastern workshop with Anne-Marie Norman. Her presentation is called Riding Till Dawn, Finding Light in the Darkness. Anne-Marie is an amazing character who has beaten all the odds pretty much her entire life. She was born with cystic fibrosis and given a diagnosis of not being able to live past the age of 35. And I believe, if I'm correct, she's now 53. So
Yes.
hooray for switching that number around, first and foremost.
Thank you.
Secondly, Anne-Marie was run over by or hit and kind of pushed over by a vehicle while she was working at the airport. So she's trying to load a bag into the back of a car. And I'm going to let her tell that story. But I wanted to introduce her so that you guys know Anne-Marie is pretty much made up of bionic bits, and she has fought her way back to being a fully functioning human. So without further ado, I'm going to leave the presentation to Anne-Marie Norman. Thank you so much for being here, and we can't wait to hear your story.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. I'm Anne-Marie Norman, and I hope everybody can hear me okay. Testing 1, 2. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, awesome.
Good to go, girl.
Okay, thank you. I was born in Los Altos, California. I'm the baby of 6 and 3 boys, 3 girls, just like the Brady Bunch. I am a mom of 2 boys, and I'm also a grandmother of 2 grandchildren. We were all born with cystic fibrosis. It is a deadly virus that attacks your immune system, attacks your digestive system, and attacks your lungs. As Brittany was saying, life expectancy is 35, and I've made it to 53. My brother died at 2 from cystic fibrosis before I was born. Apparently never spoke a word. In the hospital, Lucille Packard, he sat straight up, said, "Bye-bye, mommy," and died. I'm trying to find my video. And died. I started writing around 6 years old, and I was finding that that was actually helping me get through a lot of the stress and strain of being around a severely abusive mother. She should have been put in prison, and a severely absent father. My very first motorcycle was a Honda 50, and my brothers taught me how to ride motorcycles, first bicycles and then motorcycles. And we were kind of on our own. We built a dirt bike track in the backyard, and that was after school. That's exactly where we went until I was older. My first memory, I was 5 years old, and I was laying in bed. It was Easter morning, and I heard some noise coming from outside, and I looked up on my bed. I looked up out the window, and I saw my mom putting Easter eggs in the Easter grass. And I thought, wow, my mom's a superhero. She gets to help the Easter bunny. That's how a 5-year-old thinks. My mom saw, and she saw it a different way. She came up and beat me quite severely and told me that I did not get Easter that day. It stuck with me as to see that that was going to be my normal. That was going to be my way, and how was I going to get out of this type of relationship? I was very little. Let me see if I can get it. I'm trying to do, sorry. This is the first time I've ever done this, so please excuse me. So as a baby, that's me as a baby. I actually was more of a tomboy. So I used to wear my boys' clothes, my brother's clothes, hand-me-downs. I was a tomboy, and all I knew how to do was to be a boy. We moved a few times, and one time I remember moving out of a house, and my mom was driving, and she left our pet dog at the house. My dog barks at the same time. We were driving off, and I looked out the window, and I saw my family dog chasing us, and my mom had left left our family dog at the house, and I was watching him getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And my heart really flew out for him. I really wanted to help animals from that point. My outlet became motorcycles, anything with an engine, and animals. That was my outlet. We were on our own from a very young age, exposed to things that nobody should be exposed to. We had a lot of abuse. We had a lot of mean people that took advantage of kids being home alone. My brothers actually were exposed to a man. He was their mentor. He used to buy motorcycles for them and take them on motorcycle trips. And one day he wanted to take my brothers down to Disneyland. And my mom said, not without my daughter. So he took me down with my brother and a few of his friends. And as soon as we got through the gates of Disneyland, I was so excited. The mentor gave me some money, and then everybody just took off and left me alone in Disneyland. It might sound like a great thing. I was about 8 at this time. I was terrified. I was walking down Main Street wondering what to do. I went into a couple of stores. I bought candy apple. I also bought a hat, I believe it was. And I come out of there, and there's Tigger. Tigger was there as soon as I come outside the door. As soon as he realized I was there alone, because obviously I looked pretty scared, Tigger took me around Disneyland. I spent the day in Disneyland with Tigger. I had never had that kind of attention, and I had never had that kind of love that everything was going to be okay. I was a queen. Every time somebody would try to take him away to take pictures with Tigger, and I thought I was in the way because that's what I was used to being, Tigger reassured me and pulled me close to him that I was part of those pictures. I can't tell you how many pictures I'm probably in. The love and the caring that this Tigger gave me stuck with me for my entire life. I still love Tigger. I was walked out to the front gate. Tigger put his paws on either side of my cheek, kissed my cheek, and went bye-bye. Pretty soon the mentor and my brother and his friends all came telling me what a great day they had when they had no idea I had such a wonderful day. We got home, and bullying was pretty much my home life, my school life. My brothers bullied me, well, because that's what brothers do. My mom bullied me. School bullied me because I looked like a boy. I had red hair, I had big feet, and I had white skin. I was profiled every single day. I'd have to hide in the principal's office. Finally, at the age of 13, I was hanging out with my brother. I was hanging out with my brother at a 7-Eleven. We do that every day after school because it was the thing to do. And my mom showed up in a truck, and it just not like her to show up in evening time. A truck I'd never seen before. She asked me to get inside, and I did. She took me home, and she told me to get in my pajamas, and I did. And I heard the tea kettle going off from the kitchen. I came out, and there is a towel on the floor and a chair on top of the towel. She told me to take a seat, and she proceeded to take that tea kettle and pour it over my right foot. I screamed in pain. She said if I screamed anymore, she'd pour it over my head. So then she poured it over my left foot. I didn't scream. I was a good girl, but it hurt. She told me to take the towel because it was a mess and take it to my room. I put the towel, because it was cold water that felt good, wrapped around my feet. My brother came home and he was laughing, saying, "Did you get the pancake turner? Did you get the cutting board?" Because we were beat all the time. So it kind of, between me and him, it was kind of funny. I wouldn't stop crying, so we turned on the light and saw my feet. He went out to my mom and started yelling at her, and she started to come in my room to do one more. And I saw my brother pick my mom up by her neck and throw her up against the wall and say, "If you ever touch her again, I'll kill you." And I saw that, someone sticking up for me. I hadn't been used to that. It's this community thing. You're together. Somebody's got your back. The next day I was at school and I had socks on, and I pulled off my socks and it hurt so bad from it stuck to the blister. Nurse came and called my mom. My mom said it was sunburn. When I got home from school, I opened the door. My mom was there and she said, "Nope, you no longer live here." And I was 13 and she kicked me out. I tried all my friends to see if they'd let me stay and nobody would. So I decided to stay at a park while continuing to go to school. I stayed on the bottom of a hill thinking that it would shield me from any cold or anything. And I found out the next day that it got really damp at the bottom of the hill because of all the dew from the day. I went to school for a couple of days, but you start to get dirty and stinky and nobody wants to see that. I started sleeping at the top of a hill and I made friends with a duck. I called him Whispers. He didn't quack, he whispered. And every night he would come and clean my hair and clean my neck and sleep beside me. And this bond with animals just grew ever stronger. I met a lady, everybody in the neighborhood called her Granny, and her husband Lefty. They took me in, they fed me, they clothed me, and it was like she was my mom. She was the most amazing woman. Whatever I needed, she got. She gave me snacks. She got me ready for school. She made my lunch. Beautiful woman. She had contacted my dad to get some money to help her support me, and my dad sent me to Alaska. My sister lived in Alaska with her boyfriend. My sister used to be pretty nice and pretty sweet, but I had found that she had almost turned out to be like my mom. They made me sleep on the floor in their walk-in closet in their master bedroom. And when her husband would get up for construction at 3 a.m, I'd have to get up so he could get ready. And I'd have to go with him to construction sites. And then he would take me to school. It was like that for a while. And when they moved to a bigger apartment, I got upgraded to a couch. I caught tonsillitis. I had 104 temperature and I was having a hard time moving around. My sister didn't seem to care. She wanted me to keep working. She sent me to school the next day and I collapsed at school. The teacher sent an ambulance for me and sent me to the hospital. And again, I saw a doctor yelling at my sister, "What the hell do you think you're doing with this little girl?" It was awesome. It was like a hero. Again, this community of angels that just stay with you. When I got back, I went to school for a couple of weeks. And when I got home one day, her boyfriend was waiting for me at the front door with luggage. And guess what? Get out. You're in the way. So I'm on my own again. I went to the community center with my luggage. I'm in Alaska. I've only been there a few months. I knew nobody. One of my classmates saw me and came and picked me up and let me stay with them. I got jobs from here to there. I worked on the pipeline. I worked cleaning buses. I just started working. That's all I knew. My sister's boyfriend, I guess, talked to my dad, and my dad found out that I was no longer there. They said I was a runaway. They lied. My sister's boyfriend came over to the house that I was staying in and told me to come back with him. And I said, "Nope, I'm good." So they called the police on me. I went to a military style facility for youth. And They called my mom to ask if she wanted me, and she said that my daughter is dead. I don't know who you're talking about. The facility, they all came around me and they all cried, and I didn't understand the crying part because I wasn't used to the crying part. And they felt for me. They talked to a judge and had me sent down to my sister's in Oregon, thinking that I was going to be better off there, and I wasn't. I got to Oregon, and my sister's husband, first thing, called me a slut and a whore. They put me out in a trailer because they didn't want me to be around their children because I was a horrible person, is what they said. So I just left. I was homeless for a year. I slept wherever I could, and during the winter I found an empty camper shell that I stayed in. No pillows, no blankets, but it was away from the rain. I'm with a homeless group of people that really weren't good people. There was drugs, there was craziness. It wasn't good. We're all standing in front of a grocery store, and we're all begging for money for food, and there's 7 of us. This lady comes up to me and she looked at me and she says, "Why do you want money?" I said, "For food." She went in the grocery store and she came out. She gave me a banana, and just me, a banana pointed at me, and she says, "You are better than this. Do something with your life." That stuck. That very next day, I got off my butt and I started going door to door to doctors' offices, movie theaters, asking if I can clean their office, clean their house, clean their car. And that is how Immaculate Detailing started. I started seeing that people really did like me and really did love what I do. And it seemed to draw a different kind of crowd to me. I was doing good. One of my classmate friends came up with her friend in a pickup truck to my house, my little trailer. And she says, "You know the guy you have a crush on? He's looking for you. Would you like to see him?" I said, "Absolutely." We went to this house. It was in the middle of nowhere, up in the mountains. There was nothing anywhere for miles. And there's this little house up on the top of this little hill. And sure enough, there's the guy I have a crush on. We're there, we're talking, there's a fire, everything's great. And I look out the window and there goes my friend in the pickup truck, and they left me. And I said, "I'm going to need a ride home." And I was told, "You're not going home, you're now with us." I was 15. For 2 weeks, they kept me. They took my clothes. They wouldn't feed me. They kept me chained to a trailer. And I thought, this is it. This is how I'm going. I weighed 98 pounds at my height, which is 5'9". They picked up this random hitchhiker and brought him up. When you're kidnapping a person, I don't think you should be picking up a hitchhiker, but thank God they did. This man, he came over and sat next to me while they're all talking, and he whispered to me, "You're not supposed to be here, are you?" And I couldn't answer because I was terrified of these people. So he told them he was going to take me down to the trailer and rape me. But what he was doing was he was bringing me food, sneaking me clothes, and sneaking me, getting my muscles going because they were in atrophy. The wonderful thing is that one morning I could see them on the top of this hill, and they're nailing boards together. It looked like a coffin. And one of them is holding a shotgun, the same shotgun that they had shot 3 inches from my face to keep me from running away. So that terrified me. So this gentleman said, "I'm going to take her down the road here and I'm going to do her." All of a sudden I heard the gun click, and this man said, "Run." He couldn't even finish that sentence and I was gone. I never run so fast in my entire life. Ran and ran and ran and ran. I got to a highway, made it to a gas station. He hid me behind a counter just in case if they came looking. I'm wearing his clothes, which are like 4 times too big for me. I said, "How the hell am I going to ever repay you because you just saved my life?" He said, "You never will be able to repay me. Do it by paying it forward." That stuck. This community spirit of I got you, I got you. I left town because it wasn't safe for me to be there. Moved down to the back down to the Bay Area and started fresh. Started detailing and started riding motorcycles again and started getting things going. I started working with the Feral Cat Co-op. Started building my business, riding motorcycles and meeting community people. Nothing ever bad happened to me when I was with my riding community. I found that as a common. We all had the same stories. We all had the same pain. We all had the same darkness, but when we were riding those bikes, it was awesome. Time had passed and I had married my best friend, who I loved very much. Believe it or not, he passed away. And when he passed away, I kind of focused more on reclusing myself. I didn't want to fall in love anymore. I didn't want to be with anybody anymore. I didn't want to do anything anymore. I found out that was making me more lonely. It wasn't really making me more happy. It wasn't really saving me from anything. It was actually making me more miserable. So I started again. I just kept working up my business and started going out and riding up Highway 9 and going to lunches and dinners on motorcycles. It brought out this two-wheel therapy that there is not one therapist in the world that can cover. No offense to any therapists watching. I decided after I had my second child, I was going to give my business a break. Now I was going to just start working for people because it's too much of a hassle, I thought. I worked for a hotel as a banquet houseman. And I also worked at an airport. I was helping a friend who was the general manager of a transportation where if you needed a taxi or a shuttle or a limo, we'd take care of you. We'd stand at the podiums and get you whatever you needed. It was a beautiful day. Went to, rode my motorcycle over to the Rolex races in Laguna Seca. Rode home, was in a very good mood. It was August 19th of 2012. And I'm working. I was a half an hour away from the end of my shift. A lady came. She said she needed a taxi. I waved a taxi on. And I held her 75-pound bag. I was extremely fit at the time. Opened the door for her, and I went to the back. And I was holding the bag in my left hand. I braced myself with the bumper with my right knee because the bag was going to teeter me as I opened the hatch. I went to open the hatch, and as soon as I was fully extended, the driver accidentally hit reverse instead of park. I didn't quite feel anything at that moment. The lady screamed. The guy stopped, thank God, 2 inches from another car. And all the taxi drivers came out. They were so sweet. They loved me. They're going to help me up on the curb, and my whole body, it felt like a toothpick snap. And all of a sudden, I couldn't use my legs. My legs weren't working. And my left arm felt funny. I went from being a single mom of a 3-year-old, working 2 full-time jobs and incredibly physically fit, to a wheelchair. 6 doctors told me I wouldn't be walking again. Just get a cute wheelchair, you'll be fine. Do you want to know what the crazy moment was? The one that really got me. My son's 3. We're watching TV. He's sitting on my lap. He goes to get up and walks away, and I asked him, where are you going? He wouldn't turn around. I said, baby, where are you going? He turned around. His face was full of tears. He says, I miss you carrying me to bed. That got me. So I went from self-pity. Let me show you my self-pity. I was in self-pity mode. I had lost all my weight, and my friend brought me to the gym, put my wheelchair down, put me in the gym. My friend had brought me to the gym and said, I'm not coming back for an hour, so you better do something. And that was it. That was my first day of me coming back, of this Phoenix riding is what I call it. Phoenix rising doesn't fit the motorcycle community. It's Phoenix riding, because six months later, I had worked, where is it? There you are. 6 months later, I'm back. And I told those 6 doctors they can kiss my butt. So I went to a 7th doctor. 7th doctor was the first doctor that ever actually got eye to eye with me in a wheelchair, not talking down to me like the other ones were. He said, I'm not going to stop until you're walking, but it's going to be painful and it's going to be hard. And I said, baby, you have no idea. 3 surgeries later, 2 years later, hold on. Let me see. There we go. I took my first steps after 2 years, where they said I'd never walk again. My left arm was still bothering me, so it was in a sling. I had a hard time keeping it. I could go, I could work out, but I couldn't use it. I couldn't carry things. I couldn't walk with groceries or carry my son. I had this fire in me, this flame. I still had stuff to do. 7 years, 30 doctors told me they couldn't find my injury on my left side, on my left shoulder, or my left leg. My scapula was up above my shoulder 3 inches. 30 doctors just said, no, it's all psychological. It's chronic pain. It's your accident memory. It's not an injury. You'll be fine. Dr. Demers down in Reno, Nevada, another great doctor. He did a full body scan. He said, this is not from your psychological. He says, there's something there and I can't find it. I can't find why your arm's not working, why your leg stops working. I'm sending you to the best UCSF professor. You know what happened? Literally 2 years later, we're going on 7.5 years now of not being able to use my left arm. This doctor called me up via Tango. She said, we found your injury. C4, C5 nerve came away from your neck, and we're going to fix it. Do you know what they did? They fixed it in 5 minutes. My arm was working like it had always been working. A year later, do you know what they did? I was on a cane, but I still worked. I still detailed cars. I still did my thing. I still took care of my son. Single mom, baby. A year later, they fixed my hip. They found that there was a narrowing of the nerves because of the injury. And this doctor, this amazing doctor, has discovered a way to regenerate nerves and make them work again. And guess what? No more cane. No more limping. I'm back, baby. You cannot tell me ever that you are in a dark spot that I haven't seen. You can't tell me that you've been through something that I haven't seen. I've seen people die in front of me. I've been through traumatic experiences. I have PTSD. I don't know what the hell that means. All I know is I'm diagnosed with Phoenix riding. My motto for my life has always been never quit, never surrender. And I'm hoping that I'm reaching someone out there that needs to hear this. That if you ever need help, if you ever think that there's no way out, look at this picture. Look at this picture. When I was older, a few years ago, I brought my son to meet my hero. I'll show you my hero. My hero in my life. I got to show him Tigger. When I was injured and in a wheelchair, I'm not really good at sitting around. I started the Robbie Fund. And I started the Robbie Fund because I needed my brother to be honored. The Robbie Fund helps children who are suffering from cystic fibrosis and their families. And I wanted to do something that involved motorcycles with that thought. So I came up with the Robbie Fund motorcycle rides throughout the Bay Area, starting from all different locations, meeting in all different locations, and raising money while we're having fun. I went to one of my meetings that I set up, one of my rides, and I'm sitting in the San Francisco Golden Gate Harley Davidson, and a leader of a group came and he says, yeah, I'm leading this really good charity ride. I said, really, what's the name of it? He goes, man, it's fantastic. It's called the Robbie Fund. Have you ever heard of it? Yes, I have. It's me. I contacted all different people. I contacted artists. I contacted radio stations. I contacted nightclubs. I contacted Build-A-Bear. Build-A-Bear made Robbie Fun Bears. And I'm telling you, you got to find a way to make this all work, because this is all going to work and everything's going to be okay. So if you have any questions, I'm all done. But remember, Phoenix Riding, not Phoenix Rising. We're better than that. If you have any questions, I'm done. Brittany, if you're there, I don't know.
I'm here, girl. I'm here.
Okay. Okay.
I had to go grab my Kleenex.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
First of all, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know that you can't see the chat right now because you're presenting, but the comments that are coming through are just amazing. There are
Awesome.
a lot of people that you are reaching. So
Awesome.
this is a good thing for you
Awesome.
to be sharing. If you could unshare your screen so that everyone can see your beautiful face when you
thank you.
start the question. There you go.
Thanks.
I have some questions in the Q&A for you, and then I'm going to remind everybody that if you have questions for Anne-Marie, please share them in the Q&A so that we can keep track of which ones have been answered and which ones haven't, because the chat's a little bit chaotic. It goes really fast. So use that Q&A toolbox, and you guys can ask Anne-Marie any questions that you want. So Anne-Marie, I have 2 questions already. The first one was at the beginning of your story, you said that you were all born with cystic fibrosis. Does that mean your own children and grandchildren?
So the mother and the father have to have cystic fibrosis. So me having cystic fibrosis, if my son's father doesn't have it, my child doesn't have it. Both parents have to have the gene.
Okay, so then your son does not have cystic fibrosis.
No, he does not.
That's wonderful news. Okay, the second question is from Kim Alvarado. She says, you are amazing, first and foremost.
Thank you.
She wants to know if the heart picture behind you is from the Heartist Gallery.
Yes, it is. Yes, the Heart Artist on my right. And this is from Sonia Paz. She did this for the Robbie Fund on my left. I don't know if you guys can see it. That's from Sonia, and that's from Debbie. I love hearts.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about how anyone in the country or anyone in your area can get involved with the Robbie Fund?
Oh, the Robbie Fund is easy. It is literally therobbiefund.com. And there's PayPal links on it. You can contact me directly. There's an email link that you can contact me and get involved, because there's going to be rides coming up here at the lake, baby.
So what kind of activities do you do with the Robbie Fund when you say you go on a ride? Can you explain a little bit more?
Oh, sure, no problem. So motorcycle rides, what I normally try to do is I try to get around to the community. So while we're riding, we actually pick up extra riders because they're following along this group ride. And what I try to do is have an event happening at the end, either at Alice's restaurant eating food, either at the Saddle Rack doing a silent auction, or up at Mount Rose with concerts and food vendors. I try to get everybody to have fun, but while they're helping. And if they want to come with me to the children's hospitals to bring the bears and the checks, you have no idea. The kids' faces, it's amazing.
Sounds pretty wonderful to combine those two things that matter so much to you.
Yeah.
Kim says, thank you for answering the question about the hearts. She's a collector of both of the artists.
Awesome.
It's really cool. Marjorie wants to know if your son rides. And so I think that's going to caveat the question, how old is your son now?
So my son is 11, and yes, he rides. And it's funny, he has his own little Honda 50, which brings back so many memories. But he loves to ride on the back of my GSXR 750. And he made us get little cat ears to put on our helmets. And when we ride, when we go around corners and I take him around the corners, he goes, Mom, this is like a video game. So yes, he has the gene.
That was passed down. That's good news.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, Jenny wants to know, what are your future goals now?
My future goals are, I want a family. I really do love that. My son and I are really strong. We have an amazing bond. When he was 2, amazing. He never knew any of my stories. He goes, Mommy, do you remember when you were getting hit and I was there for you? I was your angel. And the most amazing thing is that I want to build my business. I want to help people. I want to build the Robbie Fund. I just want to make it, where people think twice before hurting somebody. I hope that answers.
I'm sure it absolutely answered that question.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm just trying to focus on the screen so I don't cry.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine. Kathy wants to know, what kind of treatment do you have to have, if any, for your cystic fibrosis?
Okay, that's the pain in the butt part. I catch everything. And of course, your children are petri dishes for disease. So when he comes home with something that you guys get sick for 3 days, I'm sick for a month. So to prevent that, I'm on nebulizer treatments, on breathing treatments. I have a vest that shakes the ever-loving daylights out of you. This is going to be a little too gross. So the mucus that a cystic fibrosis person has, take Elmer's glue and put it on the surface and let it start to dry. That's what happens to the bottom of our lungs, and we need to get it out or we could die. So we're on treatments and on medication all the time.
Okay. The next question is from KJ. KJ wants to know what a typical day in your life looks like.
Well, I have animals, if you guys couldn't have guessed that. So they're number one. And my son helps me out. We do our breakfast. He gets ready for school. I get ready for work. And if I can squeeze in a little workout beforehand, and nowadays my workouts are a lot more mobile. Thank you. But I go to work. I work 2 full-time jobs again, my detailing business, and I also work at a local casino as a housekeeping supervisor. At the night, I make dinner for my boy. Real exciting, right? And on weekends, when we can, up here in the mountains, we ride, baby.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm reading through the chat too. There's so many comments. Lauren has a really great question. I actually want to know more about this as well. She says, first of all, wow, what a truly inspirational story. You talked about how nothing bad happened to you while you were within your riding community and groups. can you talk a little bit more about how writing has helped you with your own recovery with your PTSD?
Oh yeah. It's amazing is that whether you have earbuds in or you don't have earbuds in, whether you have people riding with you or you're riding alone, is a freedom that you have to concentrate on the road. You can't concentrate on anything other than the road. So it takes away all of that mental anguish that you put yourself through. And literally by the time you guys get to your destination and you guys are talking about your day and you're talking about your week and your month, those problems don't seem to be so big because of what you just did, where you rode, the beautiful trees, the beautiful mountains, the twisties, the oceans. You can't help but it's the best meditation in the world. And once you're done, you can rethink clearly on a problem you've been having for like a week. This problem seems so insignificant that your life is so freaking beautiful. It's not worth it.
So I'm going to say that I actually have the exact same experience as you. I mean, obviously we're all different, but I'm with you on that. And I think a lot of people who are watching right now can relate to that as well. I have one more question from me personally. Is your son there right now?
No, he has to,
okay.
since I caught the virus, he had to go home with his dad to keep him away from me, just in case. So I miss him. I love him. And would you like to see a picture of him?
Yes, we would.
Okay. I want to show you my baby. I love him. So he's got red hair, if you didn't get that. I have 2 boys, and Shane stays with me full time. There's Shane, and he's holding our kitty.
That's a fantastic photo. The poor cat is just tolerating him.
Yeah, so he loves animals just like I do, and we get it. We cry, and this boy is 5'3" at 11 years old at 5'3". I'm terrified.
So it sounds like he's inherited your love for animals and your love for riding. Do you think that your son will kind of follow along in your legacy and keep this going? Is that something that you're looking forward to?
It's funny is that he already does. His drawings are amazing. He wants me to draw pictures for the children in the hospital. His heart, everybody has always said his teachers adore him because he has this heart, huge soul. This boy is going to be an amazing man that I think that everybody would want to follow to the Robbie Fund and beyond.
That sounds so wonderful, Anne-Marie. Thank you so much for sharing your incredible story with us. I can't even, I want to let you know that a lot of the comments that were coming through in the chat while you were talking, a lot of people said that first of all, they couldn't believe it. Second of all, that they were never going to feel sorry for themselves again.
Thank you.
And I think your message is beautiful that, darkness is darkness for everyone, but there isn't a darkness that can outshine the light. And just thank you so much for sharing everything that you've been through and for being brave enough to put yourself in front of all of these attendees and tell your true story and be your authentic self. And I am just blown away. We have a couple more questions that have come through.
Okay.
We have about 5 more minutes, if that's okay.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay, perfect. Our friend Maggie McNally is on, and she is also a redhead. So she just wants to let you know that redheads unite. She says, my son is a redhead too. His name is Sean.
And mine's Shane.
It looks like a couple of people are trying to log on to the Robbie Fund, but getting an error message when they are trying to donate. So
do it all lowercase. Okay. If you do all lowercase and try it this way. Here, this is the one that gets abused all the time with the clothing. Kelly, you don't want to look? You don't want to say hello? No? Okay. But if they do it all lowercase and if they have any issues, they can contact me through my email, which is 4x4 or 4x4 Tiggertude, TUDE at gmail.com, and I can help them out.
Okay. And attendees, I want to remind you that we have a PDF that will be sent to you that has all of our presenters' contact information on it. So you guys will be able to contact Anne-Marie afterwards if you want to get involved with the Robbie Fund, or if you are having trouble donating. It's amazing the amount of time. We've been on here for 45 minutes and we're already having our attendees trying to support your fund. So that's just
awesome. Thank
fantastic.
you. Thank you very much, people. Thank you.
Yep. And then our last question is from Jeff Stapleton. He wants to know when your book's coming out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I am. I'm actually working on my book, and I want to get it where it helps people, where it's not just telling my story, but it actually helps people that I know there's people that are stuck. So I'm planning on it, Jeff. I say within a year.
And then Patricia wants you to know that after your book comes out, then there should be a movie to follow, and she's going to nominate Julia Roberts to play you.
Oh, awesome. Oh, I'd love that. I would totally love that. Yes, please.
What a great choice.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you want to say to everyone before we kind of wrap everything up?
Well, so I do want to just say something real quick. There's going to be time where you get popcorn moments. It sounds really stupid, but let me explain. Landmark Education taught me that long ago letters were invented. Long ago, people took letters and jumbled them into a crazy thing called words. Someone calls you a whore. Someone calls you a slut. They're letters jumbled together. That popcorn moment of don't attach yourself to what people call of you, people think of you. It is just letters. Someone could have bumped their head 2 seconds before they met you or saw you and there's cursing at you. It has nothing to do with you. It's a popcorn moment of keep that centered, keep it open. You got this.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie, for volunteering your time to do this, and for the very first presentation, which I hope is many to come in the future.
You're my hero. You're my hero. You got to know that. You're a badass.
I think we're in a room full of badasses right now. So
right.
Yes, there goes your parental filters. Sorry, everyone. Hope that.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Damn it. Already darn it.
Thank you for all the advice and for sharing your heart with us. I just, I'm really glad that you were able to do that with us today. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And goodbye, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good one.